I'm Jordan Jennings. Welcome to the Life of a Producer. It all started for me when I was 5. My grandmother had an old VHS player in her room, and she had an entire wall full of like 200 VHS tapes. And I came into her room and I said, "Grandma, can we watch a movie?" She said, "Sure, go pick something off the shelf." And I picked this movie up, Star Wars. I can't tell you which one it was. And I said, "Can we watch this one?" She said, "Okay, put it in the tape player." I put it in the tape player, and the bold blue letters, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. I read that and I just knew that, this is going to be good. I'm in for a surprise. And then the big, bold yellow letters came out and said Star Wars. I saw that and I was just sold. I said, this is something I want to do with my life. So I found an old tape recorder that my mom had. It had no tape in it. It was old. And I started to make movies around the house. Just, regular stuff. My siblings acting silly. My mom cooking, just making simple home movies. Even though I wasn't recording anything, I wanted the real feel that I was really being a producer or a director. So I did it. The tape recorder broke a week later. Yeah. Then I didn't make anything for a while. I was 9 when I got my first flip camcorder. It was like a little smartphone, and I would record everything off of that for a good while. My first year in TV production, I was in 10th grade, and Miss Lawrence taught it. That year, that's the first year where I really got my foot in the door. It was like, this is a career. This is something that I want to do. Nothing else. This is all I want to do. That year, I met Arch Campbell at the film festival that the TV production kids have every year. And I met him, and I walked up to him. I said, "Mr. Campbell, can you take a picture? I make movies. This is something that I do. I love what you do. You inspire me." And he looked at me, and he said, "You know what? You're the next Steven Spielberg." And it meant everything to me. It was like a little baby seeing Barney for the first time. It meant everything to me. I left there. I moved to Bowie, and Mr. Arcusa taught TV production too. That class was the next step up to what I wanted to do. He told me about, I got my first professional camera in that class. My mom asked him, what's a good camera for him? He said a Canon T3i. I looked on YouTube and got a T5i, 2 models up. Well, not what I expected to do, but I got it. And I haven't put it down since. Pictures was everything. I would just have the camera in the car. We'll be driving, I see some flowers, just take a picture. I made my first short film in that class. Silent Killer. My sister played in it. It was just a good experience, a great experience. And another year, he told me, he said, did you want to do it again? And I was like, did they have a TV3? He said, no. He said, I can just make a class, another TV class for you if you want to do it. And he made another class, and I'm in there now. And I love it. It's not really, I can't really stress it enough or let you know how much I love doing what I'm doing now. It's just so involved in his class. I did a football piece, the Bulldog experience for the football team. I love what I do. You know what I mean? It's not really a lot of ways I can give it to you. It's just simply I love doing what I'm doing. I'm the co-producer of the Society Moms Talk Show, and that's my mom, the host, and I help her with most of her graphics and her editing. I did her new opening for her new season. It was a hard process and a fun process at the same time, but to see and know that, you know, my work is being put on TV is amazing. It's a great, great feeling. It's like all of my dreams are starting to come true. I've done some other things as well. I did a skating documentary with a friend of mine, Mark Mizzard, called Life of a Skater. It followed skaters and their hobby, what they love to do, how they do it, what type of shoes do they wear, what type of boards that they need to do what they need to do. And it was a fun thing doing. I used my GoPro a lot for some first person shots, but the most extraordinary thing happened. I was focused on Mark, and I was in the park with other skaters, and they just saw the camera, and they said, you know, what is this? I was like, you know, it's a documentary. It's going to be on YouTube. You know, you want to be in it? And all of them just start lining up, doing all kind of tricks. It's just it's a beautiful thing, because it's like the ideas just come to me when the camera's in my hand. The camera is like my other half. It's like my heart living on the outside. You know what I mean? Not to be too dramatic, but yeah, it's like my baby. You know what I mean? If it was a woman, I'd probably marry it. You know, but yeah. Oh yeah, got to tell you guys this. This February coming, I'm going to be going to Atlanta with my mom to film this WNBA player, Rushier Brown, for the Society Moms Talk Show. Now, my mom told me this. It was somewhat of a surprise. It was crazy. She said, hey, you want to go to Atlanta with me? Film this lady? I was like, yeah. I love it when she tells me, do you want to do this for the show? Do you want to do that? Of course. It's what I love to do. It's what I love to do. I can't give it to you any other way. It's just what I love to do.
What can I say about Jordan? Jordan is just a good person. You know, as a parent, all parents love their children, but I don't think we always like them every day. And I like being with Jordan. I like being around Jordan. Jordan is a likable person, responsible. He is focused when it comes to working with things like this, because it's definitely his passion. As you can see, I'm in the studio where I work, and I'm just in today editing. It's a typical week for me to come in and edit shows that I've done previously, and all these cameras and everything that's around. These are basically some of the cameras that Jordan works when he's working with me as the co-producer and director. He is just on point when it comes to video and production. I wouldn't have it any other way. Yes, he's my son, but he's also just a dynamic producer. A lot of field experience with me. A lot of my guests request him, especially those off-site. He's gotten a lot of accolades and positive responses from many of my celebrity guests that I have, and they're starting to request him, which helps him build his bio as a young producer, whether it be in television or in videos. So it's just been a pleasure for me as his mom to watch him grow in this area. I think I always knew, maybe from the age of about 9, I could say, that this was probably something that he would do even as an adult. He's always had a camera in his hand from the age of 9, and you know, he was just that kid that would walk around the house just snapping pictures of you when you're cooking, and all those unopportune moments where you don't want to be photographed. But it was fun for him, and it was fun for me to really see him motivated. So he's been consistent with his growth. I'm super excited to know that he's working under Mr. Arcusa at Bowie High School, which is his second TV production teacher. He was also at Frederick Douglass with a fantastic teacher, Patricia Lawrence, who gave him the basics and the foundation for TV production. So since he's been at Bowie, he's grown tremendously. His writing has grown, his expression has grown, being able to narrate a story, all have been developed under Mr. Arcusa. So I am, as a parent, extremely filled with gratitude for everything that he's learned. And I just know that he's going to do great things. When he has the camera in his hand, he's in his element, and you know it. He has a way of professionalism with the guests that make them feel very comfortable. He will set scenes for them, and he knows about lighting and things of that nature. So it's just great to know that it's not only, a parent's dream to know that their children are excited about certain things, but they're prospering in them and that they can make a career out of it. It's also exciting to know that when I'm working with him, that things are going to be done right. So I'm just looking forward to great things from you, Jordan. Talk to you soon, guys. Bye.
Filming the Society Moms Talk Show was really an adventure for me. My job as the co-producer and director of the show is to determine how the host and the guest looks, basically, to the audience. The studio is built on a green screen. So while the host, my mother, and whatever guest she has weekly will go into the green room, I sit here and play on the Chirecaster. And basically her set and everything that you see, all the people who have seen her show, is a virtual picture. We put it into the TriCaster and manipulate it to make it look like she's in LA, when she's really in Bowie. Fancy, right? Yeah, no. Anyway, so I have done most of her off-site footage. We just finished recording artist and violinist Chelsea Green for the Christmas show. We spent the day in DC. Basically got a hotel room, and I recorded from 1 to 3, and I went on stage and recorded her sound check, because that night she was opening up for Chris Michelle, so that was fun. I did that. I did celebrity fashion designer Kati Adiv. Went into her house. We basically made a day out of that. I think we got there like 11 in the morning. We didn't leave till like 4. But it was fun. It was fun to be in her house, because she is such a talented woman and everything. And her story was just touching to me. And she's like, she had some push pins on some black cardboard, and it was like she made a picture of Marilyn Monroe with the push pins, and I couldn't keep the camera straight most of the time, because I was just amazed by the things that she did. We recorded the past show that is about to come up. We recorded Alexis Streets. She's in Laurel. She's a gourmet artist, and she makes all kind of unorthodox treats, things that you wouldn't normally see in the store. Something like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but she's a woman. So that's amazing. I recorded the off-site footage for Police Chief John Nesky for the Society Moms Talk Show. I think it was the self-defense show that she had. So I have a whole lot of experience with the off-site work, and I just love my job. I love what I do, and yeah, I just love what I do. It's not a time my mother would say, hey, you want to record this person? Hey, why not? I love it. I just love having the camera in my hand.
When Jordan first came here to Bowie High, he was coming from Douglas, and I don't know a lot about Douglas's film program, but without sounding too conceited, I'm pretty sure that we were a little further along than they were. And at first, it took them a little while because they hadn't used Final Cut, some minor things, but the good thing that he had was he had a desire, and he was eager to learn. And I never really encountered any situations I can think of where he was resistant to the things that I was trying to teach him. He's been a learning sponge, as it were. There's a few things, of course, like any student, that he could improve upon, where I guess for a little while the proposal and treatment thing kind of didn't make sense at first, and didn't understand the degree of what writing was involved in. That's something that he's still working on, but it's gotten considerably better. And I think he'll also tell you that through the constant training and reinforcement and telling him over and over, I think he'll tell you also that it started to kind of open him up to how important the production side and the planning side is of everything. So again, that's something that we're constantly working on, but he's grown quite a bit. Camera-wise, that's another thing that it takes people a while to kind of finally get a grasp of, and it's something that even myself in personal things that I shoot, that I'm constantly trying to get better. I find that one of the things that makes a good student is the ability to say, I don't know how to do something, and through talking to different people, professionals, through YouTube searches, books, and just watching movies, I think over time you start to develop your style, and I think that's where Jordan is now. He's starting to kind of figure out his style and what he likes and what he likes to shoot, and in the elementary stages of how to light things and how to frame and compose, and I can see big changes. Some of the first things that he did that he came here with, he's grown considerably and has gotten a lot better. His most recently, one of the things that I think he showed a lot of growth in was his football feature that he did at the beginning of the year about our Bowie High Bulldogs football team. And I can just see the transition happening from him moving from the mind of a junior to the mind of a senior. And that's interesting. It's always a good thing to see. I always love being able to have kids for more than 1 year in any of my classes, whether it's computer graphics or TV production and film, because you get to see, you get questions answered about your teaching. You get to see, did he get what I was saying? Is there another way I could have explained it that made it better for him? And I'm starting to see the little seedlings that I've planted starting to kind of grow and starting to blossom. To kind of touch a little bit more on his development as a writer and trying to figure out how he was going to put his ideas on paper, I kind of think back to the very beginning where, for a proposal, for example, the way that I teach them to handle that, the tendency is the students want to write too much description, and the proposal is only supposed to be just a short thing, that says a teenage photographer in a high school, while on a field trip, discovers his extraordinary powers after being bitten by a radioactive spider. And that's it for the proposal. It's just kind of like when you hit info on a remote control to see what program you're about to watch. And at first, he kind of wrote too much for something that should have been short. And then for the opposite of that, with the treatments, what I teach him and what I teach all the kids is that if it's going to be an informative piece or a news piece, that it should be written kind of like a news article. And if it's going to be a narrative piece, that they write it like a short story. And I think for a while he kind of didn't quite wrap his head around how important it was to be detailed and to totally tell every single story. And that's something that it's taken a little while, and like I said, it's a constant thing of development, but it's something that he's really starting to understand now and starting to get how important it is, because if you're not familiar with film and with TV development, one of the greatest things that you can have with your characters is good character development. And my television production 1 students are currently working on 30-second TV commercials, and sometimes they don't understand why we have to know that Bob is a 50-year-old surfer who really enjoys partying and the simple life. If he's only going to be showing up in a pizza commercial just for a minute and they show his Hawaiian shirt and his ponytail, that people are just going to get it. But the thing that you want to make sure when you do that is that your actor has some background on the character he's going to portray. So, little things like that, those are the things that he's really starting to get a grasp of. And as for Jordan's future, I think it's very bright. He's surrounded by people who are in the industry. His mom is very influential and a new personality on our local access cable channel here in Bowie. And always being around that and having a parent who's involved in something that you like doing, that makes it all that much easier for you to have, you know, certain resources at your disposal. And you know, they do a good job of providing them with cameras like this one and microphones and things. And but beyond all that, I mean, for any young filmmaker, I can't stress the importance enough, sorry to be redundant, but I can't stress the importance enough of how significant the planning and writing process is. I have a student who's a former student who's a production assistant and beginning to be in TV development in Hollywood. And one of the major things that we talk about is how eager Hollywood producers are to get people who understand how to create a story and how to have backstory. It's not about your special effects and how good you are at After Effects. It's not about your editing skill yet. It's not about any of that. It's all about character development. Almost word for word, Evan, my former student, told me flat out, he said, you know, if you have the ideas and you have the writing and you have the creativity, they'll find ways, if they like your ideas, to get you all of the cameramen and the lighting and everything that you need. But the number one thing is, it's all up here, is you being able to do that and tell those stories. And I think Jordan is on the verge of being able to do that. He also has spent time with a few professional wedding photographers and videographers, so it'll be good, because most filmmakers, there's not too many filmmakers out there that haven't shot a wedding. I think not only is it a good thing for you to learn how to frame and compose and tell your story through the lens, but it's also good for making some quick money when you need money, so you can buy more cameras and so you can do things that you need to do to grow as a filmmaker. So again, I think he's surrounded by some great people, and I think that he'll go far as his desire goes with him, and so far it looks like he has a lot. Advice that I have for Jordan: keep working. Any filmmaker, any photographer, anybody who's in the media business, they'll all tell you that it's important for you to build your portfolio and for you to have as many things as you can. So even when you're not going to get paid, take as many opportunities as you can to just shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot and edit, and then shoot some more and edit some more and shoot some more, and write as much as you can. Read and write as much as you can. Read lots of fiction. Read lots of newspapers, so that you won't be one-dimensional. You know, your chances of getting jobs and getting hired will be much better if you can do the news side and you can do the film side as well, and television. And I'd say that from what I hear from former students, this is a pretty good starting point for you. And from here on out, after graduation and throughout the rest of your life, it's all going to be about how hard you work and how bad you want to make it happen. All too often, you hear about kids who show a lot of promise in art or in film or graphic design or whatever the case may be, and eventually they end up being an accountant or working in real estate or something else. And there's nothing wrong with those, but if your love is film and your passion is that, the only thing that can hold you back is you.
Okay. Hi. Let's see, Jordan. I had Jordan when he was in 10th grade, TV 1. I remember Jordan being the youngest student in my class, but the most mature. It was something about the way he presented himself, and especially that first True Life project. I really enjoyed that. I was able to show those upperclassmen that Jordan can do it, and so you can too. I remember we talked about rule of thirds, media literacy, And although I thought Jordan was going the path of music, I did not know that eventually he would take his love for music and keep that and then add it to his movie making skills and talents. And I'm so pleased to hear that. And when Jordan was in my class, I thought his first love and passion was music. Then he's presented his True Life project, which was a project about their life, whatever passion they wanted to explore. I wanted them to record it and submit it. And then I saw that and I thought, oh, he has some skill, because he knew how to figure out storytelling, which is what this is about. Figuring out how to tell your story the best way. He knew that he had to find a location to do that. He knew what he wanted to talk about. And ever since that project, I knew, okay, something special. Then I met his family. And we all sat around and talked about his future. And I remember he brought some sheets to our meeting and wanted to discuss CGI. And I felt very bad because at our school, we didn't have that much to offer. But he researched. He did what he had to do to help himself become better in that area. Then throughout this entire time, I realized this young man really has a passion for this. And we had Full Sail come, and I remember Jordan expressed interest in attending Full Sail. And then the county put on their first film festival. And it was only open to my TV2 students, and Jordan was a TV1, but I wanted him to come. So, came on the field trip, and we actually had Arch Campbell there at this particular film festival. And I'm going back because I was part of the committee that year, so that's why I'm also trying to remember the steps that we took. But I remember Jordan met Arch Campbell, took a picture with him at that time. And through this entire process, I appreciated him as a student and as a young man because he picked up pieces and brought it with him along the way. And to see him now, even though he's not here with me, but to see him become this developed, this balanced, this creative, this talented young man, it just touches my heart. And I'm so glad that I was one little step, one little visit on your journey. And I know great things are going to happen for him.
Hello, my name is Joyce Terry Butler. I had the pleasure of working with Jordan Jennings on last spring, 2015, when I was being featured on Society Moms. He actually did our photo shoot with me and two of my other friends, Tracy and Janet, and he did a phenomenal job. The pictures were just breathtaking. I was like so taken back by them. His professionalism, his timeliness, his patience was all impeccable. I was just impressed for him to be so young. He was very professional, very focused, knew what he wanted. He knew which shots he wanted to do, how he wanted it. And I just love his professionalism. He's a wonderful guy to work with. I'm looking forward to doing more photo shoots with him. I highly recommend him. And I wish him well in all his future endeavors. He is going to do an awesome job because I'm quite impressed. Thank you.
I want to take this time to thank a few people. To my teachers, Mark Arcusa and Patrice Lawrence, thank you so much for what you taught me, and I hope I can make you proud. To my mom, thank you for supporting me in something that I love to do. Thank you so much for giving me the chance to help you with your talk show. And I want to thank everybody who has helped me with this documentary. Ms. Joyce, thank you so much for your kind words. It was a pleasure working with you as well. I want to thank my two younger siblings, Cameron and Bryson, for starring in all of my movies since the beginning. You're amazing. For all of you that are watching, I vow to give you my best and hope that you will watch for years to come.